Hello and welcome to Bharat Shakti. I'm Brigadier Chatterji. We're going to be talking about the Iran-Israel war today, and we're going to specifically focus upon the air defense system of Iran, which did not play the role that it was expected to play. Well, to give you some idea about it, I'll quote a Lieutenant General of the Israeli forces, Lieutenant General Zohar Palti. He was the former director of intelligence at Mossad. While commenting on the June 13th strikes, this gentleman has to say that the speed with which Israel took down the Iranian air defense was shocking. Well, that's what we're going to discuss today. Okay? And I want to discuss specifically the reasons for Iranian failure, because we do discuss a lot about lessons learned from battles that we have won, but actually the lessons lie in the battles that are lost. So that's why we will focus on Iran today. And I have with me an expert on air defense matters, Lt Gen VK Saxena. General, welcome to Bharat Shakti. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sparing your time.
Thank you, sir.
General Saxena has been the Director General Air Defense. And like I said, that he's an expert on the subject and he's the man who's going to take us through the paces in today's discussion. And General, if I may ask the first question to you, what are the factors? What are the factors? Let's talk in generic terms to start with. What factors really go to influence the air defense prowess or define the air defense prowess of a nation?
That's a very good foundational questions to start the talk. And two, three basic facts to start with. All air defenses the world over are meant to counter the enemy's air threat. The one which is prosecuted from the medium of air, it can be prosecuted in multiple mediums, it can be prosecuted together or selectively. Basically, air defense have three different verticals. They have sensors which detect the enemy's air threat at long distances. They have shooters which bring down or intercept and destroy the threat. And they have battle management command and control system, which in air defense parlance is called the air defense control and reporting system, which manages this air defense battle very fast flowing and a fluid battle. Now, if these are the three verticals, then there are certain defining factors which actually tell you what is the health and what is the strength of the air defense. First of this factor is the vintage and obsolescence of your weapon systems. You see, air threat continuously evolves. Today there is fourth generation aircraft, tomorrow there is the fifth, then there is sixth generation. Today the standoff ranges may be 20, 30, 40, tomorrow there will be 110, 120, 150, 200. Today, the precision with which the air weapons strike you may be a few meters. They may tomorrow turn to a few less than a meter submetric accuracy. Now the game is that your air defense has to grow accordingly based on the vintage and obsolescence at which the threat is growing. And in that, your qualitative superiority and your quantitative adequacy come in front. So I will just explain these two terms. What is qualitative superiority means? You should be able to be going ahead of the air threat. That means what? You should be able to detect it. You should be able to track it. You should be able to kill it before the air threat releases the weapon load on you or destroys you. Number two is the quantitative adequacy. Everybody is saying, oh, Iron Dome, in spite of so many Iron Domes and so many David slings and arrow missiles are falling. What is happening? The happening is that every air defense system has a finite limit of surveillance of targets and a finite limit in which the number of targets can be engaged. If those are overwhelmed, if those are gone beyond or they are saturated, then weapons will not be able to intercept all the threat. And that is where the second strength lies in quantitative adequacy. The third strength is your survivability. Yeah, air defense has to survive two types of threat. One is SEAD, one is DEAD. SEAD, that is suppression of enemy air defense by the enemy air, in which it can do soft kill as well as hard kill to suppress you, to kill you, to blind you. Destruction of enemy air defense is both by ground and air means in which your systems are physically destroyed. So your survivability against the enemy's onslaught. And finally, is your efficacy of your BMC2, battle management and control system, or air defense control and reporting system. Now, this is the lifeline of the air defense battle. No amount of guns, no amount of missiles can do an optimal job unless and until they are backed with this system. Now, just to give you a small background, what is the system does? Now, suppose an aircraft is coming or a threat is coming, there are a number of radars deployed across your border. So they will all see this radar and they will all see this threat and will see in different, same aircraft will be reported by different radars. The first job of this system is to do fusing of various sensors, remove duplication, and carry out this surveillance. Then, with this surveillance, they create an air situation picture, that what is the picture of air where the threat is coming. Then they recognize out of this air situation picture which is our own, which is enemy, which is called identification friend and foe. After identification, the picture which emerges is called recognized air situation picture. Now, on this recognized air situation picture, this this control system, what is that? It prioritizes the threat. Which one is going to hit us first? Which is more lethal? And based on that, it says if this is the threat, which is the most prominent weapon? The weapon may be in air, maybe in ground, maybe sea, maybe subsurface, which is most prominent to hit. Then it designates the target to that system and thereafter controls the air defense battle by shifting the fire seamlessly from weapon to weapon. Now, this is a very tall order. This system was success of Obsindhu. Integrated Air Defense Command and Control System of Air Force hand shook with the Akash Tir of the Indian Army to make Op Sindoor a success. Same is the one of the leading strengths. So these are the five strengths which define the air defense capability of a nation. There are many other. I have picked up these 4 5 to tell you.
Right. Thank you. Let's go a little further and let's go to Iran proper. Now, just based on these factors that you're talking about, sensors, shooters, etc., what was the muscle? What are the muscles of the Iranian air defense as was on the day of the attacks started?
Yeah. Now, there are a lot of misreporting in the media. Iran air defense was nothing. It just felt like nine pins. It felt like dominoes. No, that is not a correct assessment. I will say on upfront that Iran has a substantial air defense. This substantial air defense was degraded in multiple dimensions, which I will bring it out later. First, let me tell you what is the substantial air defense of Iran. Now, again, going back to those three verticals, sensors, shooters, and battle management and control system, Iran has pretty good sensors. First of all, it has over the horizon radars, early warning radars, which detect the threat at long range. For example, there is a radar called the Sapphire radar. It is over the horizon radar with a slated range of 3,000 kilometers, though it was demonstrated to about 700 kilometers. This radar is there in Iran and quite a number of them. Then there is a radar called Ghadir radar. This is a radar which is got a range of 1100 kilometers and it is optimized for detection of small, low level, small threat. When I say small, it is the radar cross section. Radar cross section in short is called the RCS. It is a measure of visibility of a target. If the target has a high RCS, it will be visible to a radar at a longer range, and low RCS, vice versa. Then it has got a radar called Gamma radar, which got a range of 450 kilometers, again optimized for three-dimensional radar, very good radar. Then there are two radars which are called the Matla ul Fazl and Alim radar, 300-kilometer range, and also optimized for low-level air defense, low-level detection of the threat. Then there is a radar called Falak, 300-kilometer range. Then Iran has S-300 weapon system, S-300 PMU-1 and PMU-2. It has its own long-range surveillance radar. It is called 36D6. Then come to the shooters. What is its firearm? The firearm of an air defense normally starts from terminal end, few kilometers, and goes up right up to hundreds of kilometers. Now, at the terminal end are the guns, small guns and missiles, towed and self-propelled guns. Iran had quite a number of them. It had Zu-23, it had Shilka, it has ZSU 57 weapon system. It had its own integral Misbah system. It has 35 millimeter Orlikon, all guns, 3 to 4, 5-kilometer range. Then it got man pads, man portable shoulder fired missiles. Then come to short range missiles, 20, 30-kilometer range. And longer range Tabas missile, 75 kilometer. Now come to the big gun, big missile, 100 and beyond. 100 and beyond are Arman missile, introduced in February 2024, range 160 to 180 kilometer. Then it has Shahid, it has Raad, it has Shaheen, all within a range of 100, 150 kilometers. And one of the very important weapons in LRSAM range is the Bavar system, Bavar 373, 230-kilometer range, long range, very good radar system, comparable to S-300 PMU, which got a range of 40 to 300 kilometers. Now, this is the firearm from a few kilometers to hundreds of kilometers. So, what are the deductions from this muscle? Muscle is factual data, which Google has and everybody else. What is the important thing is what you deduce from this. First of all, we say 5, 6 things can be deduced. First of all, we have to agree that Iran's early warning radars provided a very good range. There is an assessment of the early warning radars of Iran which says that Iran has got outside its border the coverage to 600, 485 to 600 kilometers. This extends towards Iraq side, Jordan side, and southwest towards the Strait of Hormuz side. This area is well covered. What is the undoing in Iranian air defense? There is a conspicuous lack of anti-drone weaponry, the one which stood its ground in Op Sindhu. What is the anti-drone weaponry? Electro-optical and infrared and RF surveillance system based by radar, and both soft kill, RF laser, and hard kill weapon system to take down the drones that are conspicuously missing. In fact, the streaming videos of the war showed a missile like HQ-9 being launched to draw down a drone, which is a poorly executed air defense strategy.
Right, generally, you've given us a plethora of equipment, radars, guns, missiles, all that they had. But somewhere something must have been really missing that they folded up so fast in the whole game. So, how would you say is the qualitative efficacy of the Iranian air defense?
Yeah, that is where the undoing of the air defense comes. With this sort of a weapon system on board, with this sort of a sensors and weapon system on board, you shouldn't have fallen like dominoes. But what made you fall like dominoes? I salute the Israeli intelligence collection agency of Mossad. The first reason is that Mossad did not start today. It started 4 years, 3.5 to 4 years back to infiltrate, covertly infiltrate their personal and weapon systems into Iran. Second, they could deploy a large number of precision guided munitions. What are those precision guided munitions? They are remote controlled weapons. They are anti armor missiles. They are kamikaze drones. They are small tactical drones carrying a small payload. So much so that their supreme leader has given a call, I think 2, 3 days back. Watch out for the pickup trucks, watch out for any vehicles, watch out for any suspicions, watch out for the persons which are within you. They can be the agents of Mossad. It's something like an enemy going right, coming inside your house and totally occupying every single nook and corner, not only of the tactical battle area, but all your deployment side, all your military establishment, etc., etc. Now, With this information, this sort of a situational awareness, now everybody says, look, how can they achieve an air superiority in 36 hours? Here is the second mightiest air force of the world, Russia, which has taken 3 years plus 1, 2, 2, 4 days today, and still the skies over Ukraine are contested. That is the beauty of air defense.
Well, I want to know from you, what about the Iranian Air Force? The Iranian Air Force hardly played a role. How is it that they were off-road altogether?
Yes, I will tell you. Now, again, let us not fool ourselves by saying they are nothing. They are Iranian Air Force is useless. Sorry, they are not useless. They suffer from certain shortcomings. Now go back to the Shah of Iran days, 1979 revolution and before. Most of the American machines which they have got were of that vintage. Now with more than 30,000 or more sanctions on Iran, the weapons have been degraded and starved. These aerial platforms have been degraded and starved of what? Of latest upgrades, of spare parts, of adequacy of ammunition, of technological upgrades. So, what is the vintage of this aircraft? There is an aircraft called F4D. They got 63 numbers. What is the vintage? 70s vintage.
Well, I got your point. They're all very old. Is there anything new that they had amongst the aircrafts?
Yes, they have new also. They have their indigenous radar. There is a radar called, there is an aircraft called Azaraksh, which has got six number, 2007 vintage. They got a radar, they got an aircraft called Psyche, 12 of them, 2012 vintage. There's a radar called Kausar, which has got four, 2018 vintage. Less numbers. So what happened with this vintage? Starved of spare parts, upgrade, technological upgrade. Not that they just fled away. They were scrambled. They tried to give a fight, but they were outmatched by the electronic warfare and the follow-up capability of the F-59 RAM attacks on them. One of the pilots making fun of Iranian air forces has said, "Yes, they came, they saw us, and they fled, avoiding combat." Now this is a sarcasm. It can uh, no air force just floods away like that. It is
Okay, well,
overpowered. It is
right,
overpowered.
right. My last question to you. No, in fact, possibly have another one also, but let me try and keep this as the last one. Israel achieved some kind of superiority in 36 to 48 hours, and nor did they have a great air force at that stage. And over here, I mean, Israel had a great air force, but when you compare this 36 to 48 hours getting supremacy over such a huge country like Iran, when you compare this with what's happened in Ukraine, where the Russians really do not command the skies over Ukraine, even now today. So then what would be your comment about it?
What a great irony, I must say, sir, that the small air force in 36 hours claims air superiority over a country like Iran, got a 230 fighter aircrafts out of 400. Here, here, Russia. Do you know, sir, on 22nd May or 23rd May night, 2022, a volley of MiG-29, Su-25, 27, Su-30, attack helicopters, Caliber missile, Iskander missile, Tokcha missile, Grad BM-21, and the Smerch rammed the Ukrainian air bases and they carried out a preemptive strike. What is the aim of preemptive strike? Two aims. Kill the enemy air assets on ground before they take off, which is called the counter air operation. And secondly, kill the air defenses by kill their eyes and ears, destroy them. They could not achieve the same. The reasons are six, seven very important reasons. First is during the Donbass war in 2014 onwards, Ukraine realized that this mighty air power is going to finish our air and air defense totally. So, what did they do? They put their air defense control nodes underground, under concrete, under cover, under protection right from that time. Number one. Number two, People say that surprise was totally achieved. I have written in my writings that some bit of surprise was, if you read the President Putin's address on that day, some bit of surprise was leaked, and Ukraine was able to put most of their air assets under concrete. Then, thirdly, look at Mossad. 4 years of intelligence, precise location of SAMs and this at one end, and here in precise target information. In precise, there were many targets where precision guided munitions were inadequate. The general purpose bombs were just let go, and they did not achieve their targets. People said that there is also a training deficit in the Russian air power. Israel fights every day. Their aircraft today also the Prime Minister have saluted its brave pilots. A flight mission which goes 200 kilometers and back. The pilot says my biggest uh, stress was not to tell my wife and child also what is happening. Here the surprise is not only getting lost at the training deficit, also not only training deficit, the command, control, communication, connectivity. There are reports that some of these air attacks were done on mobile connectivity. Now, if you do such sort of a thing and you have do not play your air defenses to their potential, if you see the streaming videos of their blitzkrieg early in February 2022, you will find to your horror that some air defense weapons, tremendous air defense weapons like the MR-SAMs, like the Shilkas and so on, are packed up as convoy serials and moving as convoy serials. They are not leapfrogging. They are not giving protection. Leave aside that the air threat, if you do not destroy enemy's air defense, it will be alive to fight another day. That is where I always say air defense of earlier time used to be just protecting some vulnerabilities. Today, air and air defense are in the air denial mode. They decide the course of the battle. Of course, like Major Gauravaria, who had mentioned a few days back, that unless and until you send the ground forces, victory will be not thumped in and signed. Yes, agreed. But today, the air and air defense have different game players.
Right. Thank you, General. I think we'll sign off on that note. Thank you for giving
Thank you,
very
sir.
detailed explanations on issues that are not understood so clearly. Otherwise, you need a
Thank you, sir.
specialist to understand that, and you really played that role very well,
Thank you,
Bharat.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Thank you very much, sir.
and thank you, viewers. Thanks for tuning in to Bharat Shakti. Do tune in like this now and then you will find interesting stories being discussed. Thank you.